Good morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Wednesday, July 5th. Impact map for today, we have this dashed line here. This is the critical fuels line, and it changes a little bit each day, but it's being pushed slightly northwards as grasses and finer fuels start curing out. A few sprinkles and isolated thunderstorm over the Uintas today. A bit more widespread ice, but still not really concentrated shower or thunderstorm activity in the north on Thursday. Continuing on Friday, but the bigger story will be increasing southwesterly winds of 30 to 40 miles per hour, where you see the area in orange. Our big concern is areas that overlap or are south of this critical fuels line, which continues to bulge further northward. That is where we could see fires start taking off a little bit. Grasses are cured, live fuel moisture starting to dry out pretty rapidly, still behind schedule, but those are our main impacts the next 3 days. A bit of lightning in the far east and north with very light precipitation. It's been kind of active, and you kind of expect this July 4th. A lot of new starts, nothing really going large just yet, but increasing aerial coverage of small fire activity. It has been dry the past 14 days. You see here in the southern half of the geographic area near 0% of normal precip, little to no rain in the south. Looking at some other indices, the Severe Fire Danger Mapping System, which uses a combination of ERC and Burning Index, shows a lot more areas of high to even very high in the yellow to orange. You can see through here, and even this moderate area in the green starting to expand in coverage. This is for today. Other fuel conditions are ERCs. Looking down here in southeast Utah, you can see we've already exceeded the normal area and are above the 90th percentile. Very hot and dry weather responsible for that. The far southern Utah, the Parks and the Arizona Strip, also approaching near normal early July levels. Also in the Vegas area as well. After taking a hit with rain about 2.5 weeks ago, they have rapidly risen as well. Now, interestingly, our live fuel moisture, we look down here in the Arizona Strip, and it has dropped down to about 125%. These are our new fuel moisture, live fuel moistures that are taken twice a month, usually on the 1st and the 15th. So these are fresh. And typically below 150%, the sage starts to become a bit more in the way of part of the fire environment. So we see in a lot of these areas, this is up by Pioche and southern Nevada, also below 150, and even up into central Utah, the West Desert District, already dropping down to about 150. And with the hot, dry weather, that trend, that sharply downward trend, will likely continue. And this is what it looks like a little bit here in northern Utah. The grass is kind of thick and cured out. Still some brush and weed growth still holding on to the greenness of the spring and winter. The satellite imagery, now this is water vapor. It shows air mass moisture from the surface up through the upper levels. You can see this dryish copper area. The darker it is, the drier the overall air mass. We're driving that into a good portion of our southern and central areas. Still quite a bit of atmospheric moisture to the north, where there'll be some isolated showers and thunderstorms the next few days. So for today, on the left, there's the upper level map. We no longer have the big ridge of high pressure building in. We're kind of in a zonal flow. It's actually a weak trough of low pressure in the Pacific Northwest. On the 7-day map here on the right, you can see our far southern areas have gone into critically dry areas, low risk or moderate in the yellow, and still holding on to the green, or little or no risk of large fire in these areas. Now, looking at humidity, bone dry, low to mid single digits in the south, low to mid-teens in central northern areas, going up into the low 20% in the Idaho mountains. Wind's not really an issue today, kind of light and variable, more slope-driven. You can see the daytime highs, 90 here in Salt Lake, 91 down Cedar City, even 105 in Vegas. That's still near or a little bit below normal for this time of year. Now, for tomorrow, on the left, we have this dry wedge of air. We have a tightening gradient of southwest flow, and with the daytime heating allowing that wind to mix down to the surface, we do have high risk for winds in our far southern areas. You can see that wind belt here, strongest just east of Nevada, into the Arizona Strip, parts of far southern Utah, and you can also see the low humidities on the right that go along with it, and that low humidity area starts going further north. Now, we have expanded our high risk a bit more as we go into Friday, and that gradient continues. You can see the actual wind belt here on the left kind of expands in coverage a little bit northwards, and some of these purples are gusts of over 40 miles per hour. And again, it tapers off quite a bit once you get into the Nevada side of the state line, but still breezy there as well, still very dry humidity. So this will be a tough couple of days. We'll have to look and see. Hopefully the fires, the new starts that we're getting could stay small. We will see. 3-day precipitation totals, not much here, just some isolated showers over the highest terrain. Looking down the road for Saturday, there's a dry wedge of air, still moderately breezy in the south. As we go into Sunday, the Four Corners high pressure ridge starts building back in. We see that developing again on Monday and Tuesday. This is what's needed to sit over the Four Corners for several weeks to get the monsoon going. We see a few blips of moisture here, but nothing too drastic. But temperatures will definitely be back up on the rise by about 5 or 10 degrees from where they are at current levels. By the time we get into early next week, you see a lot more brown on our 7-day map and a lot more yellow pushing northwards as well. This is the 7-day precip totals. You can see the monsoon is still mostly down south of Arizona, still in Mexico for the most part. Now, the 8 to 14 day outlook shows above normal temperatures, and so that's significant, but also this much drier than normal signal. So going into the third week of July, we still see no evidence of the monsoon coming into play into the southwest or into the Great Basin. This concludes our briefing. Have a great day.